Welcome again, everybody, to another episode of Haunt Talk, where we're going to be reviewing Fear Columbus. As you saw from Kim's fun little intro of our finger poo, we actually... So I think everybody that saw that, besides maybe one person, if they happen to be watching it, is very confused maybe why there's a poop green in them. But yeah, we met a fan of the show there, and he had a sweater on that had a Mr. Hanky the Christmas poo. And Kim has had these weird finger poos in her house, unopened for years.
They
and we finally were able. They're gross. Yeah.
The texture is just really
Oh,
yeah.
It's so sticky. No. But anyways, yeah.
You're supposed to go like that and fling it, and it'll if you remember those creepy crawly things that you the spider things that you would throw at the wall, and it would kind of just crawl itself down. Huh. I think it's kind of the same kind of idea, except it's shaped like poop.
But anyhoozle, we were again reviewing Fear Columbus's. I think they just called it Krampus. I think that's what they called this event. Now we went last year for this, and we were really impressed with what they did, and they kind of said it was going to be bigger and better this year, of course. And they are doing it for 6 days, actually.
Yeah.
So when you're watching this, if you're watching it when it goes live, there will be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday where you can still try and go. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that being said, we'll go ahead and get into the review. We must, as always, refer to the Book of the Dead! Book of the Dead! Book of the Dead! Book of the Dead! Right. And as always, we are going to start with sets and props.
All right, so once again, Fear Columbus always has just awesome sets. And then they just added Christmas flair to it.
They're so much.
So much. Just good. And not it wasn't over the top. It was perfect amount.
Yeah. I mean, I think some are, there's a bit of over the topness, but I think it's in a good way.
Yeah.
Because when you first walk through those doors, it's just being hit in the face with Christmas. Because this year they had, one thing is we, even though there's time ticketing, we had to wait a while to get in. Once we actually got, so it's kind of weird. There was this tent, and then there was a queue line in the tent, but there was no line in the tent.
Yeah.
Which was weird, because they had the security checkpoint, then a giant tent with switchbacks that they had Christmas decorations in. But there was no one in the tent waiting.
Yeah.
But there was a huge line. We stood still for probably a good half hour until we finally started moving.
Yes.
So they must have been backed up and pausing people in big groups or something. I don't know. But anyways, yes, there's a few Christmas decorations in the tent. And when you walk in, they have a really cool it's not a facade when you first walk in, but where it says the name, and there's just it's an archway. That was really pretty.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it is nice because last year we did the fast passes, so we didn't get to see their light show that they have in the queue lines. This year the fast passes were sold out, so we had to wait, forever because of that. It was pretty cool. Now I will say, my God, I think it was a little bit louder than it needed to be.
Yeah. I felt it in my soul at one point.
It felt a couple times like someone was hitting me.
Oh.
I'm with their bass speakers, and I'm wow, this is louder than concerts I've been to. But it is cool. They have a bunch of, I think I might have a little video of this, the lights kind of synchronized to the music, and they have all the fog effects and all of that. Mm-hmm. They even had fake snow outside this year.
Yeah.
Actually, I took a picture because I sent it to people and they were convinced I was in a blizzard, but it was just fake snow behind me, which was cool. So then you enter, and the first one was the summoning.
Yes. And now, mind you, the whole thing was Krampus themed. So it was basically the characters from each of the haunts, which is the summoning and then anarchy, kind of overtaken by Krampus and his minions, so to speak. So you had that whole, summoning demons and whatnots that the summoning pretty much is.
Yeah.
And you added, some Krampus and evil elves, and
this one was I think the first one's definitely, the summoning was less Christmased up than the second. Now, I mean, there are still because the summoning is it's kind of witchcraft and stuff, that. So there are some I guess living area type scenes, living rooms you walk through. But there was still quite a bit of like, Christmas trees and Christmas lights.
Yeah.
And they had a lot of the Christmas lights set up with the boo pedals that this place uses. So like someone would come out and the Christmas lights would turn on for the scare. But like thinking back on it, there wasn't an overtly amount of like Christmas stuff in the summoning. Like it was there, but it was mainly just like Christmas lights.
Yeah.
And that kind of thing. Now when you leave the summoning, the second little like baby cute line you wait in for the other one, like they really did that one up. It was like walking through like almost like a Christmas tree forest.
Yeah. Yeah, it was actually really cool. I was actually really surprised when we walked in there and I'm like, oh, there's like trees everywhere.
I think they had a Krampus animatronic in there too.
Yes.
Like I think he was holding a lantern or something. That was cool. And they even had it. I think definitely it was snowing in that room.
It was snowing in there.
Yep, and they even had some of that like spray snow, I think, to make it look like the ground was frosted and that kind of thing, like you were walking on slippery snow. So that was really cool. But yeah, the entirety of Aftermath was really where I think a huge majority of the work went to. Because, so you go into, like, Aftermath starts off, you're kind of, like, in, like, a butcher shop/diner scene.
Mm-hmm.
Not much there, but then soon as you walk out into, like, the city street.
Yeah.
Like, all of there's, like, a huge Christmas tree. It's snowing. Mm-hmm. All the windows for all the shops are, like, frosted over.
Yeah.
It's insane, like, the amount of Christmas lights and just, like, every storefront's decorated. And it's just, like... It was definitely a wow moment coming out of that shop and seeing all of the work they put into with the Christmas lights and that.
Yeah. And there's like there's a Krampus on top of a car.
Yep, there's a giant. Yep, that's right. There's a giant Krampus on top of the cars.
Yeah, and I think there might have been like some like creepy snowmen and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, I think there was that. There is just a plethora. And then you go into the asylum, which is always my least favorite part of that haunt. That was probably the least Christmassy decorated of the different sections that are in Aftermath.
Yeah.
There were some still, of course. Like I said, there were like lights and I think maybe trees and some corpses wrapped up in Christmas lights, as you do. But then like even like the general store, and I remember this from last year being impressed. Like they stocked the general store with like boxes of Christmas lights.
Yeah, like I'm assuming it's all the lights they had throughout the whole place, just kind of set out to make it look like you could purchase the lights, which I thought was kind of funny.
There was a really cool section when you actually leave the asylum. It's like they've made almost like an A-frame, like a triangle roof of lights that you walk through. So it's just like this tunnel of lights.
Yeah.
That was pretty awesome. And then like even in the greenhouse scene towards the end of Aftermath, like they had everything like glitterified and frozen. Like all the plants look like they're frozen over.
Yeah. Like the snow, like this detail was like kind of crazy how much snow they had on things, because you have to think about they had this snow down and it's like they have to clean this up so that they can have their regular show. How are they going to clean this up? Because it was all just like glittery and snowy and all this stuff, and it was just kind of like you're walking around and you're like, how are they going to clean this up without like making it too clean?
Yeah,
to ruin the show, the regular show. And it was just kind of interesting how far they went. Yeah,
really. And it's weird because, like, we always describe Fear Columbus as, like, a kind of a beautiful haunted house. But, like, with the Christmas lights, it really is, like, it really is pretty. It would almost be nice if they did for people that, like, just went almost a Christmas walkthrough. Like, besides the corpse hanging from the ceiling, if there aren't actors, like... You're going to walk through them and be like, this is beautiful. And like, that was one thing we said last year is they advertised fake snow, and we got, like, a tiny bit of fake snow last year. But this year, oh, my God, there were so many scenes where we were just, like, it was just snowing the whole time with their snow machines. I don't know. It was just, like, really cool. I'm trying to think if there's any other, like, specific scenes, but the whole thing was just, like, decked out in Christmas. There's just so much to look at, and there's already so much to look at in this haunt, and then you add all these crazy Christmas decorations on top. It was just really cool. Obviously, we're giving sets and props a 10. That's what we gave it on the on-season, and they've just decorated it more, so... Yeah. Like Kim said, really kind of tastefully as well. I guess as tasteful as a haunted house can be.
Right.
But, like, it was a lot, but it wasn't too much.
Yeah.
Not enough to the point where, like, it made things too light where you couldn't, like, you could see where people were hiding.
Yeah. Like, it still kind of kept the atmosphere going, but just added that little Christmas flair.
Exactly, yep. So, moving right along to actors.
So again, a lot of the characters were more towards
Yep.
holiday or like minions of Krampus and things like that. One standout that I thought was pretty cool. They had like a one of those monkeys with cymbals. He was really creepy.
Oh yeah, I forgot about him. Yeah, because that was an actual person. Yeah.
Yeah, and he was just sitting there, and he was just. I think he was screaming or making monkey
I think he was
noise.
making chimp music.
Yeah, like, but he was doing the cymbals. He was really awesome. They had people dressed up as like creepy elves. They had like, I think there was like a sugar plum fairy at one point.
I know there was an evil gingerbread man that like came out of a hole like in the ceiling-ish area.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh, he's up there. And I think, and he and he said lines from Shrek, I do believe.
Oh
as well.
yeah,
which gave us a chuckle. Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. Yeah.
Yeah, and of course your Krampuses and
Crump
eyes. Yeah, your Crump eyes. Yeah, your she Krampuses. And lots of those. And yeah, lots of like demented elves. There was definitely less actors for this than there was for the on season, so there was more dead space. But the ones that were there did a really good job. There was one guy in particular that got us multiple times in like the city streets.
Yeah.
He had like these clicker, one of the people that can slide, and he would just pop out of nowhere and just click in your face, like so. He would get so close.
Well, a lot of them had like, some had the clicky gloves that the sliders use, and then some had like the finger cymbals. Because they were actually making like jingle belly kind of like ching 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 kind of noises, and a lot of them had them. I guess just kind of have that little jingle bell like noise. But yeah, they would like literally like, I had numerous people that just got like this close to my face. It was crazy how close they were getting.
Yeah, the people in that city streets really do a good job. And again, the boot pedals are very effective that the actors use, because like even though I know where some of the scares are, they still manage to get me because of just how loud and bright the boo paddles are. And of course we had Isaac with us, and we made him lead through this one. And he even said like, because they don't touch here, and he really likes like the ones where they grab you and stuff, like Nightmare Cleveland, which that review will be coming out next. So make sure you stay tuned for that. But he even said that this is one of the haunts that he actually like screamed the most in, just because of all like the jump scares and that. Like I said, I mean, some of them I do know they're coming, so not all of them get me.
Yeah.
But there are some, even though I know they're there, they still manage to scare me,
right.
which is impressive the way they have it set up.
Yeah.
So actors are really good. We do wish there was a little bit more of them, because there are definitely the Asylum specifically was super like empty seeming.
Yeah, it was
this year.
very
There was
empty
not many. At least if there was, we just kind of missed the scares, because I will say, halfway through the summoning, we caught up with people, and they didn't separate us at all when we got to the beginning of Aftermath. Usually they kind of pulse you in, but no one stopped us, so we just conga lined through all of Aftermath. Which, again, the haunted house is set up kind of like a Halloween Horror Nights haunted house, so you can still get scares. They have tons of scrim between the doorways.
Yeah.
But obviously there are scares you'll miss when you're conga lined together, because sometimes a group in front of you will get something and they just won't bother with you because they're waiting for the next group type of thing. But we gave actors a 9 this year, or for the Christmas thing.
So moving on to scare factor. Again, it was, with the Christmas one, it kind of like changes how much more like scarier it is and stuff like that, just because it's more whimsical, because it's got the holiday theming and stuff like that. Still, again, we did get quite a few scares,
quite a few jump scares, and I mean the place is just so loud.
It's so loud, like your ears ring for at least a couple hours afterwards.
So like I have an Apple Watch on, and like every time I'm there, like I'm in there, sitting there for like a minute, the watch will be like, you need to get out of this environment, it's too loud. And it's like, because we actually did notice this time that a lot of the actors are wearing earplugs, which I imagine you couldn't work there and not wear them. But yeah, and one nice thing I will say that the Christmas lights do add is it adds an extra element of distraction, because like you're kind of like gawking at things, and it does make it, because they're actually, I mentioned in the actor section, the guy with the clickety-clack fingers, one of the times he got me, I think I was looking up at the Christmas tree, and he pops up from the ground into my face with his hands and scared the crap out of me. I that was the time I screamed the most, because I was just like, I don't even care if they scare me, I just want to like, look at all this stuff. Again, I just love to do a photo shoot there. But yeah, it was, the Christmas lights definitely added that kind of like extra distraction factor. But, I don't think it was quite as scary because of the less actors, and it did have a little bit more of a whimsy feel, because They were playing, I think, Christmas music through the majority of.
Yes, it was kind of like
They've been a little messed up.
Like kind of slowed down a little bit.
Yeah.
Kind of creepy. Yeah, because like at one point I'm just like, what's going on with this music? It's just like kind of like strange. Like sometimes you would get into certain parts and they were playing like normal stuff. Because like especially in Anarchy, because of it being like in the city streets and you're going into businesses and stuff, they actually have like a radio station playing in some of the areas. So they had like a DJ talking and about like, you know, oh, holiday sales, blah blah blah, and then they would play Christmas music and stuff, trying to kind of keeping up with that whole atmosphere.
Which is just, the amount of thought that goes into the detailing of this place, even down to something like that, is super impressive. But yeah, overall, it was still pretty dang scary. We gave it an 8.75.
So that brings us to value. Because this was a special event, it was a different price than normal. This one, a little bit. Well, it was all general admission was $29.99. Didn't matter if you were there Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. Yeah, it's $29.99.
Yeah, from at least what we could tell, I think it was the same price for no matter what. We weren't able to get fast passes. Not 100% sure what the price of this was. I think it was only a $10 increase.
It was a $10 increase. Yeah, I swear they sold like 10 for each thing, which was ridiculous.
I'm not sure, but either way, again, it's a 30-minute long haunted house. You are in there for quite a while, and we just also think the value is great for this event. If you're watching this, we highly recommend that you get it, do it, but make sure you understand you cannot buy tickets at the gate. So if you're watching this and you do not know that already, you cannot just show up. You must have tickets because they are kind of strict. Like, I believe it seems to be how it works is like, so like let's say you have a 9 o'clock ticket. You can show up late and still go in, but you can't show up before 9 and go in. Yeah. Because they'll say like, oh, we're now basically serving like 9 and earlier type of thing. But if you're 9:30, then when they check your ticket, they're going to just make you get out of line. Yeah. So, basically, don't show up early. If anything, show up a little bit late.
Yeah. Yeah, I would actually say take your time. Get there close to your time, but if you're a few minutes late, it's not going to hurt.
And they do have some concessions and stuff like that. Nothing real crazy, but I think there's like a place selling like hot dogs, maybe burgers and stuff. Yeah. And there was a place selling hot chocolate, but I didn't even realize it till we were leaving because it was like around the corner. Mm-hmm. So if you do want something warm while you're waiting in line, because if you're waiting in line for a while like we were, I'd probably recommend getting something warm. We got lucky though, because like I said, most of the waiting was outside, but it was like, it wasn't that cold. I mean, it was cold, but it wasn't snowy. It was like 35, 40 degrees, so it wasn't horrible at night. But if you go this week, I don't know what it's supposed to be this weekend, but if you go and it's colder, then you might want to bundle up, and because you're going to be, even though the entire haunt's inside, you will be more than likely waiting outside for a little. Yeah. So just keep that in mind. But value gave a 10 to. Again, we think it's amazing value. You're getting to see a world-class haunt. And I don't think 30, especially compared to like some of the other places we've been to, like last year, like in Maryland, and that what they're charging for haunts, not even not even close to the caliber of this. It's very good value.
So for our overall score, we did give them a 10.
Yep, we gave them a 10. We were debating on like 9.5 just because like the scare factors are less and the actors are less, but we think with the insane, because we, stats and props would be like an 11 for this event if we did more than 10, because like of the fact that like the amount of decorating they did, like we already gave them a base 10 on the normal show, and then they've done this much more. And just when I think about the amount of work to put the show up and take it down, that's why like I'm super glad that they're doing this for 6 nights, not how most are for 2, because like this amount of work for 2 nights I think would be insane. This amount of work for just 6 nights is insane, but 2 would have just been like, how is it worth it? Right. Like the amount of time and money you're putting into this, like, I mean, I know they're probably making a killing, because I mean, like, usually when we go to these Christmas themed haunts, they are a lot slower. Yeah. They were bussin' that night. Like there were so many people waiting, like they couldn't even get in line yet. Like it took us a while to find a parking spot, and they have a lot of parking there. Yeah. So, yeah. It's it is a popular event.
So that is it for Fear Columbus's Christmas show. Did you go? What did you think?
Yeah. Are you going to go? Are you watching this before it starts? They also, by the way, have cool, like this isn't necessarily their merch, but they do sell, what's it called?
The Halloween T-shirt company.
So I love this shirt. I bought it from there last year.
Yeah.
It's like this creepy tree giving like the kids a Book of the Dead, and other stuff. So they do have a cool merch store. I implore you to look at it because even the stuff that's not Fear Columbus branded, they have a lot of really cool shirts there.
Yeah.
But yeah, make sure you're liking, subscribing, and leaving the comments. Also, make sure you're ringing the notification bell so you don't miss any future upcoming videos. And also, if you have any ideas for videos you'd like to see us do in the future that maybe aren't necessarily haunted house related, let us know. If you'd like to see like horror movie reviews and stuff like that, that's something we've been toying with for a while. Would you like to see us do that? Whatever you'd like to recommend, let us know. And if you have a haunt that's going to be having any other special events like a Valentine, St. Patrick's Day, whatever, before like the normal haunt season, let us know about that because we might be able to check it out. But thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Bye.